All right, today we're going to dive into the mind of a 19th century rebel whose ideas were so explosive they were basically a spiritual declaration of independence for every single person. We are talking about the one and only Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Okay, let's just start with this bombshell of a sentence. Seriously, this right here is the key to understanding everything about him. It's his challenge to a world that was built on fitting in. And let me tell you, that challenge echoes just as loudly, if not louder, today.
So, to really get Emerson the rebel, we first have to understand the world he was pushing back against. We're talking about a world of rigid, suffocating rules and secondhand beliefs that he thought was crushing the human spirit. And what's so wild is that Emerson wasn't some outsider just throwing rocks at the establishment. Nope, he was a former minister. He was right there in the heart of it, and he saw up close what he called a sickness that basically shrinks a person down, turning them into a cog in a machine instead of a real individual.
He really felt that society itself was in a kind of conspiracy against your authentic self. You know, it's always pressuring you to live a secondhand life, to think secondhand thoughts, and to care more about what everyone else thinks than the truth that's actually stirring inside your own soul.
Well, this brings up a huge question, right? If the old institutions are dead, where do you go to find what's actually alive? Emerson's first answer was both incredibly simple and really profound. Stop digging through the past and just start looking around you.
And you have to understand, his definition of nature was massive. This wasn't just about pretty trees and sunsets. For Emerson, nature was the entire universe outside of your own soul. Art, other people, the stars, the ocean. He saw all of it as a direct hotline to divine truth, totally uncorrupted by human systems.
In his mind, just one single, authentic moment, like really seeing a sunset or feeling the wind, that held more spiritual power. It could teach you more truth than a whole lifetime of listening to dusty old sermons. It was a direct connection to the source.
And this idea, the idea that real truth is found in your own direct experience, well, that's what led Emerson to his most famous, his most radical, and his most powerful conclusion.
Just think about that question hanging in the air back then. And Emerson's answer? It was like a bolt of lightning to the 19th century mind. He said, the divine, the true, the source of all goodness and power, it's within you.
This was his manifesto. He argued that if you copy someone else, you're basically killing your true self. If you envy someone, you're just blind to your own incredible worth. For him, the highest law, the only sacred law, is to obey your own nature, because that's where the divine spark actually is.
So he laid out this really stark choice for everybody. Path 1, you can be a conformist, right? A pale copy, living in fear of what people think, using hand-me-down beliefs. Or path 2, you can be self-reliant. You can trust that universe inside of you and become a completely original force in the world.
This gets to his huge idea of the oversoul. The concept is basically that each of our individual souls is like a single drop in a vast, universal ocean of consciousness. So what that means is, when you trust yourself, you're not just trusting your little ego. No, you are trusting the divine, that eternal one that connects absolutely everything.
So why are we even talking about a philosopher from the 1800s today? Because in our hyper-connected, constantly scrolling, validation-seeking world, his ideas are probably more relevant now than they ever have been.
I absolutely love this description. His essays aren't just some quaint historical things to put on a shelf. They really are philosophical time bombs, just waiting to go off in your mind and force you to challenge the very foundations of how you live and what you think is important.
And that really brings us to the heart of it, doesn't it? Emerson's revolution is unfinished. It's unfinished because the central question he asks is one that every generation, and every single one of us, right now, has to answer for ourselves. When your phone is buzzing with the opinions of millions, how do you listen to the one quiet voice that actually matters?